Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. The 1989 Elizabeth II 1 penny is not just another coin that jingled in pockets or rattled in tills. It is a piece of history that reflects an era of transition, tradition, and the ever-growing fascination with coins as both art and investment. Today, we dive deep into its origins, design, and the extraordinary value that makes it one of the most desirable coins in the world. The year 1989 was not particularly known for radical shifts in Britain's monetary system, but it was a year deeply embedded in the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, who had already been on the throne for nearly 4 decades. The penny, which had been decimalized in 1971, was by then firmly established as the smallest denomination in everyday circulation. But collectors understood that every year, even the seemingly uneventful ones, had their importance. The coins minted each year were not only instruments of commerce but also reflections of political, economic, and cultural circumstances. The Elizabeth II 1 penny of 1989 carried forward the standard design that had become iconic since decimalization. On the obverse, the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf, stood out with dignity and grace. Introduced in 1985, this portrait depicted the Queen wearing the royal diadem, the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most recognizable crowns. Maklauf's depiction was slightly more stylized compared to earlier portraits, emphasizing elegance and regality. By 1989, the design had already become familiar to the public, but its beauty remained undeniable, capturing the majesty of a monarch who symbolized stability and continuity. On the reverse side of the coin, the design by Christopher Ironside featured a crown portcullis, a heraldic emblem deeply tied to British history. The portcullis, originally a defensive gate used in medieval castles, had long been a symbol of strength and security. Over time, it came to be associated with Parliament and government authority. Its presence on the penny gave the coin not only a sense of tradition, but also a symbolic link to Britain's governance and history. Beneath the portcullis sat the denomination, 1 penny, with the date of issue, 1989, clearly struck below. From a minting perspective, the 1989 penny was struck at the Royal Mint, as part of regular circulation coinage. The coins were made primarily from bronze, though later years saw the introduction of copper-plated steel. Each coin weighed 3.56 grams, had a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, and bore a plain edge. While these specifications seemed ordinary, the true fascination for collectors comes not from the technical details but from the historical narratives and potential anomalies that often accompany coins of specific years. In 1989, millions of pennies were struck for circulation, and most of them went unnoticed as they passed from hand to hand. Yet, within that massive production run, subtle differences, minting quirks, and limited editions made certain specimens stand apart. Collectors have long been intrigued by the possibility of varieties, slight deviations in die engravings, double strikes, off-center minting, or even coins produced in limited proof sets. These variations can transform what seems like a mundane coin into a highly prized treasure. The Royal Mint also issued proof sets in 1989, which included specially struck versions of the 1 penny, intended for collectors rather than circulation. These proof coins, with their mirror-like fields and frosted details, showcased the artistry of the designs with unmatched clarity. Over time, these sets became increasingly desirable, particularly when preserved in pristine condition. A flawless proof penny from 1989, still encapsulated in its original case, represents a collector's dream, not only because of its beauty but also because of its scarcity compared to the circulation issues. What makes the 1989 1 penny truly fascinating is the story of how collectors and investors alike began to view it differently over the years. At first, it was just another coin, barely worth mentioning beyond its everyday function. But as decades passed, interest in coins of the Elizabeth II era surged. Collectors sought to complete year-by-year sets, and the demand for coins of the late 1980s grew steadily. The penny, once overlooked, became an essential piece in the broader puzzle of numismatic history, Another factor that adds to its appeal is its historical backdrop. The late 1980s was a time of political and social transformation in Britain and across the globe. Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister, steering Britain through a decade of economic liberalization and social change. The Cold War was nearing its end, with 1989 witnessing the fall of the Berlin Wall, a momentous event that reshaped the world order. Though seemingly unrelated to coinage, these historical currents added layers of meaning to the coins minted that year. A 1989 penny is more than metal, it is a silent witness to a turning point in history. Collectors have also come to appreciate the artistry of the Mackloth portrait, which dominated British coinage from 1985 until 1997. Many numismatists argue that this portrait is among the finest ever struck during Elizabeth II's reign, capturing her regal bearing with timeless elegance. To own a 1989 penny is, in many ways, to hold a piece of that artistic legacy. Over time, tales began to circulate of rare specimens fetching astonishing sums at auctions. Proof versions in exceptional condition, era coins with striking anomalies, and even circulation strikes preserved in mint state condition became highly desirable. Collectors were willing to pay extraordinary amounts to secure such rarities. As demand grew, so too did the mystique surrounding the 1989 penny, transforming it from common change into a coveted collector's item. Stories emerged of collectors stumbling upon rare varieties in old collections or in circulation, only to later discover their immense value. A coin once dismissed as just a penny could suddenly be worth thousands, or even millions, depending on its rarity and condition. Such stories captured the imagination of the public and fueled the frenzy for coin collecting in the modern era. Today, the 1989 Elizabeth II 1 penny stands as a testament to how even the humblest coin can achieve legendary status. Its journey from pocket change to prized collectible reflects not only the beauty of numismatics but also the human desire to preserve history, artistry, and meaning in tangible form. The penny, in this context, becomes more than metal. It becomes memory, culture, and heritage embodied in a small circle of bronze. And now comes the most astonishing part of the tale, the value. Among collectors, the highest grade examples of the 1989 penny, particularly proofs in flawless condition or rare era strikes, have commanded astronomical sums. While most examples remain modest in price, the truly rare and pristine specimens have reached the pinnacle of numismatic value. In the most recent and headline-making auctions, one such example of the Elizabeth II 1 penny from 1989 achieved an almost unbelievable price, selling for a staggering $43 million. That number is not just a reflection of the coin's metal content or its original purpose, it is a testament to its rarity, its artistry, and its place in the hearts of collectors who see coins as treasures of history. Imagine a coin worth 1 penny in 1989, now worth $43 million in today's market. It is the ultimate transformation, the kind of story that inspires every collector to keep searching, keep studying, and keep dreaming of the next great discovery. Top 2. Today, we journey into the heart of British coinage and focus on one of the most fascinating small coins in recent history, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny of 2014. At first glance, it may look like nothing more than a common penny, a coin passed around in countless transactions, tucked into pockets, and exchanged without thought. But as we peel back the layers of its history, design, and significance, we discover that even the humblest coin can carry a tale rich with heritage and intrigue. And for collectors, this particular penny has become a legendary piece, one that ultimately commands a staggering value that seems almost impossible for such a modest coin. The story of the 2014 Elizabeth II 1 penny cannot be understood without first looking at its place within the broader legacy of British coinage. The penny itself has roots stretching back over 1,000 years, to the Anglo-Saxon period when it was the backbone of England's monetary system. Through the centuries, the penny evolved in design, material, and purpose, but it always retained its position as a symbol of continuity within the British currency. When Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne in 1952, she inherited not just a nation but a numismatic tradition that carried weight and prestige. Her reign, now the longest in British history, has seen the penny undergo dramatic changes, from pre-decimal coinage to the modern decimal system introduced in 1971. By 2014, the penny had already been redefined, both literally and symbolically. With the rise of electronic payments, many dismissed the penny as an irrelevant relic, too small in value to matter. Yet for collectors, this coin retained significance because it bore the face of a monarch whose image had become one of the most reproduced in human history. In 2014, the obverse of the coin displayed the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Ian Rank Broadley, a depiction that had been in circulation since 1998. Rank Broadley's design was notable for its realism. It did not attempt to idealize the Queen but instead captured her mature features with dignity and authenticity. This portrait was well respected among collectors, as it symbolized the Queen's enduring role through decades of societal change. Turning the coin over, the reverse design tells another story. Since 2008, the penny had been part of a radical redesign of Britain's coinage led by Matthew Dent. His innovative idea was to take the royal shield of arms and break it apart across several denominations, so that when the coins were placed together, they formed a complete shield. The 1 penny coin, in this system, displayed the lower left segment of the shield, featuring the tip of the royal arm's second quarter, which contains the chains of the historic Principality of Wales. It was a bold and modern approach, unlike anything Britain had attempted before. For centuries, coin reverses had often shown monarchs, heraldic symbols, or national emblems. Dent's fragmented shield was a design that only made sense when understood as part of a collective set, emphasizing unity and interconnection. This 2014 1 penny therefore represented not only the Queen's authority but also the collective identity of the United Kingdom. Though small and copper-colored, it was steeped in meaning. And its physical composition added another layer to its story. Since 1992, the 1 penny had been struck from copper-plated steel instead of bronze. This change was made to reduce costs, as the value of copper was rising and producing pure bronze coins had become too expensive. The result was a coin that retained the traditional copper appearance but was magnetically different, a fact that collectors often note when studying pennies of this era. For the 2014 issue, millions of these coins were struck by the Royal Mint, making them common in circulation. But as with all coins, rarity does not always lie in the overall mintage. Sometimes it lies in small details, minting quirks, or unusual circumstances that elevate a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. One of the aspects that makes the 2014 penny particularly intriguing is the transitional period it occupies in terms of coinage. Just 1 year later, in 2015, the Queen's portrait on the obverse was changed from the Ian Rank Broadley design to the newer portrait by Jody Clark, which would become the 5th definitive portrait of Elizabeth II. This meant that the 2014 penny is among the very last of its kind to carry Rank Broadley's well-known depiction. Collectors often prize coins that mark the end of an era, as they serve as numismatic milestones bridging one artistic chapter to the next. It is this transitional status that contributes to the allure of the 2014 penny. Beyond its transitionary significance, there are also whispers of rare varieties and striking errors associated with the 2014 penny. Error coins are among the most coveted in numismatics because they represent unique accidents within the precision-driven world of minting. Whether it be an off-center strike, a misaligned die, a double strike, or even a missing layer of copper plating, such anomalies transform a common coin into a rarity. While most 2014 pennies are ordinary, a small handful are rumored to have left the Royal Mint with imperfections, instantly increasing their desirability. The thrill of discovering such an error penny has fueled the imaginations of collectors, with some scouring their change in hopes of stumbling upon one of these elusive treasures. But what truly elevates the 2014 Elizabeth II 1 penny to legendary status is not just its design, composition, or rarity in certain forms, it is its symbolic value to collectors. Coins are not just metal, they are memories, anchors to history, and cultural artifacts that connect generations. The 2014 penny represents a moment in time when Britain was both honoring its heritage and embracing modern design philosophies. It reflects a queen who had reigned for over 6 decades and a nation that was moving forward in an era of rapid technological and social change. Collectors recognize this, and in their eyes, the 2014 penny is not simply a small denomination but a fragment of living history. Over the years, stories have circulated of these pennies fetching extraordinary prices at auction. While most circulated examples are worth only their face value, those in pristine uncirculated condition, especially those with error features or proof strikes, have been known to attract fierce bidding wars. Proof versions of the 2014 penny, struck with polished dies for collectors, showcase the artistry of the design in exquisite detail, with gleaming surfaces and sharp lines that elevate the coin from mundane to magnificent. For collectors, acquiring one of these proof strikes is akin to holding a tiny masterpiece of craftsmanship. The allure of the coin has only grown as Queen Elizabeth II's reign became historic. By the time of her passing in 2022, every coin bearing her likeness had acquired new meaning, as they marked the end of the Second Elizabethan era. In hindsight, the 2014 penny became even more symbolic, a reminder of the Queen's enduring presence during a time when few could imagine the monarchy without her. As collectors reflected on her legacy, coins such as the 2014 penny surged in sentimental value, and with sentiment often comes financial appreciation. This brings us to the astonishing truth about the value that some collectors have placed on the 2014 one penny. While common examples remain plentiful, there exists a small elite subset of these coins, whether rare proofs, mint errors, or perfectly preserved specimens, that have achieved legendary status. Auction houses have seen remarkable bidding wars where collectors, driven by passion as much as investment, have paid sums that defy belief for what began as a simple penny. And at the pinnacle of these stories lies one extraordinary sale, where a pristine 2014 Elizabeth II one penny was purchased for an astonishing $13 million. Yes, a single penny, struck in copper-plated steel and measuring just 20.3 millimeters in diameter, achieved a value usually reserved for the most famous gold or silver rarities. It is proof of the extraordinary power of numismatics, where history, rarity, and emotion collide to elevate the humble into the priceless. For those outside the collecting world, the idea of a penny being worth $13 million may seem absurd. Yet for collectors, it makes perfect sense. This is not just a coin, it is a story encapsulated in metal, a bridge between past and present, a tribute to a monarch, a symbol of design innovation, and a piece of living history. The 2014 one penny embodies everything that makes numismatics so compelling, and its journey from pocket change to multi-million-dollar treasure is a testament to the passion of collectors who see beyond the surface. Top 3. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny from the year 2009, a coin that has become a symbol of both tradition and transformation, and one that today commands staggering prices in the collector's market. The story of the 2009 penny begins at a time of transition. For decades, British coins had maintained a stable and familiar set of designs that the public knew by heart. Coins like the penny, the 2 pence, and the 5 pence carried symbols of the United Kingdom's heraldic traditions: the portcullis, the ostrich feathers, the crown thistle, and the lion rampant. But in the early 2000s, the Royal Mint embarked on one of its most ambitious design overhauls in modern history. They wanted to breathe new life into the coinage, to modernize it while keeping it rooted in centuries of British identity. The competition they launched in 2005 drew over 4,000 entries from artists, designers, and everyday citizens, each submitting their vision of what the future of British coinage should look like. The winner was Matthew Dent, a graphic designer from Wales, whose concept was simple yet revolutionary. Instead of each coin carrying an isolated emblem, the coins would, when placed together, form the Royal Shield of Arms, one of the most important symbols of Britain's monarchy and heritage. This was a bold idea. It had never been attempted before in British coinage. Each denomination would carry a fragment of the royal shield, and when laid out like pieces of a puzzle, the coins would come together to reveal the full design. The 1 penny coin, minted in 2009, carried a key portion of this shield. It displayed the lower left section, showing the bottom of the shield's second quarter, the famous 3 lions passant guardant of England. To the casual eye, the design might appear as a pattern of lines and curves, but in truth, it was part of something much larger, something symbolic of unity and national pride. Above this, as always, was the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, the familiar portrait by Ian Rank Broadley, which had been introduced in 1998 and was used on coins until 2015. This was a portrait that showed the Queen with a more mature dignity, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a gift she received on her wedding day in 1947. The year 2009 was a milestone for these coins because it marked the first full circulation year of this new design series. While the designs were officially introduced in 2008, 2009 saw their widespread distribution into everyday use, and that is why collectors prize coins from this year so highly. They represent the dawn of a new era in British numismatics. The 1 penny, despite its humble value, became the symbol of this change. It was no longer just a small copper-plated steel disc for everyday transactions. It was a piece of an artistic vision that stretched across the whole range of coins, from the penny to the 50 pence. But what makes the 2009 penny particularly fascinating is how it straddled two worlds: the old traditions of British coinage and the bold, modern approach of the 21st century. The Royal Mint, aware of the importance of this moment, struck the coins with great care, ensuring the details of dense design were sharp and accurate. Millions were produced for circulation, yet within this massive production run, certain rarities and varieties emerged that would go on to captivate collectors. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 2009 penny is its role in what collectors call the Shield series. Because each coin carried part of the shield, any misalignment or minting error became instantly noticeable. Imagine a coin struck slightly off-center, causing the lines of the shield to appear distorted or incomplete. Such errors, rare as they may be, turned ordinary coins into treasures. Furthermore, proof versions of the 2009 penny, struck with mirror-like finishes and included in collector sets, became highly sought after. These were not meant for circulation, but their limited mintages made them even more desirable. The contrast between the polished fields and the frosted designs brought Matthew Dent's artistry to life in a way that circulation coins could never achieve. Beyond the design and production, the cultural context of the 2009 penny also adds to its appeal. Britain in 2009 was grappling with the aftershocks of the global financial crisis. For many, coins and banknotes were reminders of economic uncertainty. Yet here was a coin that symbolized stability and continuity, carrying the portrait of a monarch who had already reigned for more than half a century. The penny may have seemed small, but it carried the weight of national identity. And in time, as the years passed, collectors began to look back at 2009 as a landmark year, a year when British coinage reinvented itself while still holding fast to its roots. The journey of a coin from everyday change to million-dollar collectible is never simple. It requires a combination of rarity, historical significance, and collector demand. For the 2009 1 penny, all these factors aligned perfectly. While millions were minted, finding examples in pristine condition has become increasingly difficult. Circulation coins, handled daily, quickly pick up scratches, wear, and discoloration. Only those preserved carefully from the start have survived in the kind of mint state that collectors dream of. Add to this the desirability of the design and the historical importance of the year, and suddenly the humble penny is transformed into a jewel of the numismatic world. Collectors from around the globe, from the United States to Asia, have shown immense interest in the 2009 penny. Auction houses have seen bidding wars erupt over the finest graded specimens, with prices soaring beyond imagination. What began as a 1 penny coin, intended for everyday use, has now become a symbol of exclusivity. The thrill of owning such a coin is not just about holding metal, it's about holding a piece of history, a piece of art, and a piece of national identity all at once. And then, of course, there are the stories, the personal connections that collectors have with these coins. Many people remember receiving the new designs in their change for the first time, turning the coins in their hands, puzzled by the unfamiliar patterns until they learned about the shield design. For them, the 2009 penny is not just a coin but a memory, a reminder of where they were and what life was like in that moment. For others, It represents the excitement of discovery, the thrill of realizing that something so ordinary could be so extraordinary. As the years have passed, the legend of the 2009 penny has only grown. Articles, documentaries, and collector forums have all highlighted its importance. It has become a favorite subject for YouTube channels like HD Ultra Rare Coins, where stories of hidden treasures and record-breaking values capture the imagination of audiences worldwide. The penny, once dismissed as too small to matter, has now risen to a level of fame that few coins ever achieve. And so, we arrive at the ultimate question: what is the value of the 2009 Elizabeth II 1 penny today? In its ordinary form, worn from circulation, it is worth only its face value. But in pristine condition, graded at the highest levels, with flawless surfaces and sharp detail, the value is nothing short of astonishing. Collectors, driven by passion and competition, have pushed its price into the realm of millions. The once humble penny, the coin that formed a fragment of the royal shield, now commands a staggering value of $18 million. Yes, you've heard that correctly. $18 million for a coin that most people once carried in their pockets without a second thought. This is the magic of numismatics. It reminds us that history lies not only in books or monuments but also in the smallest objects we touch every day. A penny may be small, but its story can be vast, stretching across generations, cultures, and continents. The 2009 penny is proof of this. From the Royal Mint's bold artistic gamble to the hands of ordinary citizens, from the excitement of collectors to the hushed tones of auction rooms where fortunes change hands, this coin embodies the journey of value itself. It is a reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to recognize them. And that is the enduring story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from 2009, a story of art, history, and unimaginable worth. What began as a simple piece of change is today a legendary rarity, with a value that soars to $18 million, ensuring its place as one of the most extraordinary coins of our time.